And we are rolling. We're rolling.
Rolling.
Yes.
Hey, everybody.
Hello. Good evening. Good day. Happy hump day, everybody. Quarantine Wednesday. Hope everybody's doing good, hanging in there, staying safe, and all that.
And all that. Yes, we're still under quarantine. Today is Wednesday, May 13th. So I believe Dallas County is still going to be on safer at home till the 15th, if my memory serves me correct. I know that things have been released and people don't really get the difference because a lot of the information is misleading and misunderstanding, but technically we're still under quarantine orders at safer at home. Yes, people have been released to go back to work, companies have been opened up, but technically Dallas County is still safer at home quarantine. Yeah. So quarantine life.
And that changes every hour. Like if you're watching the news, CNN and all the political channels, and they're constantly giving updates. So just stay tuned to whatever station you're listening to, because they're constantly giving updates.
Yeah, whoever you believe in is telling you the most factual information. Stick with them.
That's it. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we thank you for tuning in to another episode of The King and I. You have something to say there?
Oh. Hey, I was just trying to get it in over here. Get it on over here.
Yeah, and today, this evening, we want to talk about what women want and what men need. What women want and what men need.
And I think that's a good one because there is a difference. As people always say, there is definitely a difference between wants and needs. And I think in relationships, you definitely have to communicate what your wants and what your needs are, because relationships in general can be a challenge.
Oh, most definitely.
Indubitably. Relationships can be a challenge, and so if relationships can be a challenge, most definitely marriages can be a challenge. So there's levels to everything. So there's dating, relationships, and marriage, and within all that, there are miscommunications, there are misunderstandings, and there's not clear communication. So we wanted to do this one on what women want and what men need, so that we could help someone in their relationship learn what the expectations are for the other person and as well as for themselves. Because I think when you know each other's expectations, it allows you to better communicate. I think it allows you to better problem solve. And it allows you to be able to understand and make compromises within that relationship with each other, because that's what relationships are all about. When you get to that point, you are going to make compromises. You are going to have to problem solve.
Nothing's 50-50.
Nothing is 50-50. We talk about that in some of our workshops, and we actually did this workshop, what women want and what men need, back in, I think for the first time in 2014.
Yeah, it was some year.
Yeah, the ladies round table. So I was like, dusting off some of our notes and going back. That was here in Garland. Yeah. And so we did that one, and I thought it was a very good one, because we actually had people reaching out to us, instant messaging and email asking us to do something about expectations in a relationship. So we wanted to do the one that we did, which encompasses expectations of what women want and what men need. Again, in order to help relationships and help people be able to solve problems, to help people understand compromise, and allow people to know that it's okay to say what your expectations are, to say what your wants are, and to say what your needs are, because if you don't communicate them, then they don't know.
Yeah, and I mean, we're all going to slip a little bit. You're not going to maintain that level. So it's up to your partner to kind of lift you up, like, hey, so you're not going to maintain that at all times. So your partner's going to let you know, they're going to give you a little slack. She knows when I'm slipping on something, and vice versa. So you might want to kind of put a little bug in the air if it's something that you require.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Because despite what we women think, men cannot read minds. I know we think they can, but men do not read minds, and nor do women. So of course you have to communicate what your expectations are. So.
But when I say that, she say I should.
Well, I mean, there are certain things. Well, yeah, you say that. We say that, but there are certain things when there's been a repetition of behavior when there's been consistency or there's been things that have happened in the past. So we just say that, well, you should know because we've gone through this
Right.
before. So you should know, for example, when we get ready to go out, it's going to take me a little longer depending on how the hair is.
Right. And I should have directions ready, and I should have some cash. Dag nabbit.
By
So,
golly, I think he's
That's
got
like
it.
one of her pet peeves. If I'm like fiddling around, if she's getting ready, I know it's gonna take her a little while. So at that point, I know, okay, let me map out where we're going. Let me have some cash. I don't have to stop and gas up. I don't have to stop and get money. Just little things.
And those are the things that you communicate and talk about, you know. And I know one of his pet peeves is, you know, if we are going somewhere and I'm working from home, or if I've been home earlier, he would like to see that when he comes in the door that I'm at least halfway ready. So I'm working on it because no excuses. I'm working on it. But those are just little things that you know. And when I said earlier, men and women can't read minds, but you should know there are certain things you should know. For example, I don't schedule much of anything for us on a Monday. Nada, nothing. Because I know his work schedule is very undetermined, unpredictable on Monday. So I don't schedule anything. I do know for the most part when I do schedule things, date nights, because I'm more of the scheduler for us, then I need to send him a reminder, a text or something. Don't forget tomorrow we have date night, or don't forget today we have a call. Because he will forget. That must be hereditary. It's a king thing. I'm learning to live with it.
What's she saying, Valencia?
I do not know.
Never mind.
Both you. But those are just, again, expectations, and behavior sets a tone.
Right.
And I think, like he said, when mentioning the, you know, as I'm getting ready, some of the things that he can do so he's not just sitting up there looking at me saying, are you ready yet? Are you ready yet? One, making sure he has the directions on where we're going, because I'm probably going to be finishing doing mascara or something in the car anyway, so I'm not going to be able to look at the map, or, well, that was back when they look at the map. But now we put it actually in the map's direction. Hey, we just tell him. Just little things like that. And again, expectations, knowing each other. Those are things that you do know, and sometimes your partner feels like, okay, yeah, you should have known that.
Right.
And if they don't, then I think it's time for you guys to have a conversation just to remind them of some of your traits, bad habits, or triggers. You never know which one it is. Roger that?
Well, let's get into
10-4.
this. Let me get over a little bit. Yeah, you put it right back there.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to start off, and we know we're all different. We all require, want, need, different things within our relationships, and at different stages of the relationship. Relationships can be challenging at times. You know, just like what I just said about the television, it changes with this COVID-19. It's constantly changing. Your relationship constantly changes. It doesn't stay the same. So you have to change as well. But is it possible to have a successful, happy, and healthy relationship?
I think so. We
Hope
think
so.
so. And there are
Yeah.
plenty of people who've been married longer than we have
Yeah.
that have proven that to be true. So yeah, I think sometimes people try and take the easy way out with the D word. And again, we're
What
not
that? Pause. What?
the D word.
What that?
You know that other word. I don't say the whole thing out.
Oh, right. Okay, we won't talk about that.
But I think society gives people, you know, an easy way out. But I'm not, you know, condoning any type of misbehaviors in relationships. Everybody knows what their triggers are. Everybody knows what their strong points are. And if it's not working for you, I wish you and whoever you with are separating from the best in all that you do. I'm not condoning anybody for staying together or leaving separate. That's between you and your makers.
Okay. And I think she's kind of talked about these things already, the problem-solving skills, compromises, learning to communicate better. Again, we have different definitions of things that we want and require. And I know when we first got married, her mom, some things she told her, like, you need to have that man's slippers at the door. you know, get up with him in the morning when he go to work, cook breakfast, and those are things that we talked about. You know, I didn't require that. I don't need to have my slippers waiting at the door for me. I don't need you to. If you want to do that, that's fine. You know, and if you want to get up with your husband, significant other, when they get up in the morning, that's fine. You know, that's a real old school. You know?
Oh yes.
But again, I didn't require that. That's something that I didn't need within our relationship. So, you know, that's something her mom was telling her. It's kind of grooming her, but you know, those are things that we said, oh, we don't need to do that.
Yeah, and that comes with, you know, of course, every generation is going to do things differently.
Mm-hmm.
You take the advice that you need from someone as you need it, or if you need it. And if you don't need it, it can go in one ear and out the other. Because people are going to tell you what they want to tell you. People are going to tell you how you should make your relationship work, and it may not work for you.
That's right.
Yes, me being the old school, stay at home, cooking, cleaning, barefoot and pregnant, was not going to work for us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but thanks, Mom. But I mean, there are compromises in that. You know, again, depending on what his schedule is, depending on what we do. You know, when we first got married and we were in Chicago, your work schedule was 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. if my memory serves me correct.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it was just one of those hectic type of things, and we had to learn how to communicate with each other because with me having Valencia, and at that time I actually was a stay-at-home mom. I stayed home with Valencia for almost 2 years. And it was just one of those things where, you know, at 7:15, 7:20, because we lived on base 2, you know, when he came in, I was just ready for some adult conversation. I was like, so what happened at work today? Who did what? What are they talking about? You know, because all I've heard was, you know, this little girl running around in diapers, you know, and so it was just one of those things where, you know, we worked with each other, but that was something that we worked through.
Yeah.
We knew he knew what I wanted when he came in, and I knew what he needed when I was home. So, you know, that's a whole different one, talking about military life and being a military wife, but yeah.
So we locked up, honey?
No, I'm just saying, you know, all the mess and drama that comes with being on base and all that good stuff, that's a whole nother topic.
Yeah,
But what we're going to finish
something
talking to you
on that.
guys about tonight is the 5 things. We both have 5 things
Yeah.
that we feel like we're coming to the table. And we actually did a small little survey back in 2014, so it is a little old. We did question a couple of people recently just because we knew this topic was coming up to kind of see if things were on point, and I think they're still pretty relevant to this day with, you know, the 5 things that you have and the 5 things that I have. So I think we're still pretty relevant with that.
And we'll go through those. I'm going to read them off and then I'll kind of go through them. The first one is what men need is respect.
RESPECT. Find out what it means to him.
Confidence, trustworthiness, space, and connection.
So those are his 5.
That was my 5. You read your 5?
No, you can go through
Okay.
yours and break them down.
And respect is first and foremost. Men want their woman to respect them. This includes appraisal, approval. You know, we all want a little pat on the back sometime. You know, if you're not getting it from work, you might want it from your wife. You know, we want to, you know, the family to let us know that we're doing a good job. You know, so I think that goes a long way. Again, if you're not getting it from work, you know, hopefully, and you should be giving that as well. You know, letting her know, hey, I appreciate the job you're doing. I appreciate you, you know, cooking and taking care of the house. And that goes both ways. You want to know that your partner has your back. So I think that's really, 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 really important that your partner has your back. Confidence. Number 2, you want a self-sufficient, secure, confident woman. And I'll give an example. While I was deployed, excuse me, you know, of course, in the military, we had to go on 6-month deployments. So she had to hold it down, like 6 months gone overseas in the water. So they had to come around with power of attorneys, and that was like a big thing. And they really stressed this, like, do you want to give her full power of attorney, like partial? Because a lot of crazy things happen when that person can act in your behalf. Mm-hmm. So their spouses did crazy things. You know, just the person come back and they're wiped out. So that was a big thing. So they really stressed that. Do you really want to give this person full power of attorney to act on your behalf? And so for me, it was a no-brainer. I knew she had my back. I trusted my wife. So that wasn't a big, it wasn't a big deal. So anything came up, she can act on my behalf and get the situation taken care of. Manipulation. Say that fast.
Manipulation. Drama free, man. That's control freak. That's something we don't want. we don't want that drama. You don't want somebody who's being manipulative within your relationship. Know how to communicate. You want someone to know how to communicate on all levels. My wife can hang out with my buddies, my friends from back home in Cleveland, military people. They get a kick out of Shirley. So they really don't mind her hanging out. Hey, Amir.
They don't mind her hanging out.
Charles, Stinky.
She can hang out with the fellas. She played a little basketball, so she thinks she's kind of cool. And know all of those things. Just someone that knows how to take care of the household. Just not about cooking and cleaning. It's a lot to running a household. As I'm sure all of you know this already, or you starting to find out. Trustworthiness, fidelity, commitment to the relationship. You want to know that person is in the union. You're not second guessing, have any second thoughts. So you just know that person have your back, and you want to know that there's nobody that can come in and split you guys up and separate you guys. You want to make sure that union is really strong. Okay. And we all have insecurities. That's on both sides.
Oh yeah.
You have them days, and when I'm not feeling like myself, as my daughter used to say back in the day, I'm not feeling like myself. We say, "What's wrong, baby?" So we all have those days. So you want that person to kind of give you that reassurance that everything's good. Hey, I'm not going nowhere. We're in this to the end. We're in this together. See. I know my buddies ain't gonna tear me up at work tomorrow. They like talking trash, but they paying attention. They talk trash, but they paying attention. They listening.
Just as we paid attention to people who have been married, longer than us, or when we were early in our relationship, we hung out with some people, some wiser people who educated us on what it's like to make a relationship and make a marriage work. Yeah. While in the military, which is a totally different thing. So I got schooled on some things by some senior women, some seasoned women, as I like to call them. On, these are some of the things that you have to look out for, and these are some of the things that you're going to have to step up to do because he is in the military. That's
right. And I think we talked about that already. That was kind of funny. I always bring that up. Me trying to go hang out, but she would always bring all the friends, all the fellas to the house. So I was at home. I said that was a pretty good one, So she would, the party would be at the house. We would barbecue, and so I had everybody over. I was hanging out, but I was hanging out at the house.
Yeah, because we were young when we got married.
Yeah.
We were 21 and 22.
That's right.
21, 22. And Vincent, his first duty station was in Chicago, at Great Lakes, where, they do training. So there's a lot of young recruits, and him being over in the galley, amongst those recruits and stuff, and meeting people or seeing people that he'd already known from boot camp or A school or back home, and wanting to hang out and stuff. And don't get it wrong, I was a mom, but I also wanted to hang out too. So I would really make sure that we were the hangout spot, if you will, and that was a respectful hangout spot, because Vincent knew I didn't play that. Tell your homeboys, don't bring nobody to my house that ain't his wife. Don't bring nothing around Shirley that you don't want out, because I'm going to tell you now, because if I allow you to do that, then you would allow my husband to do that, and that's not how I roll. But no, we would have spades games. That's why we said we international spades champs. Y'all better recognize. Uno, dominoes, jack, spades, tunk, pity pat. whatever it was, we would do that at the house, since Vincent was a chef and I just know how to cook. Okay, well, I learned how to cook. I know how to cook. We would always, have the cookout at our house, and sometimes we would even go out and then, or I'd say like, oh, well, this weekend we're doing spades at the house, and if he wanted to go out and hang out, I didn't have a problem with him hanging out. It just wasn't going to be a regular routine thing because that's not the kind of relationship we had. Although we were young and married, there were several people who were not young and married, so his single friends wanted to hang out, and I was like, all right, let me go ahead and figure out how to do this. So you bring your girlfriend or you bring your wife, and we all gonna hang out. We're gonna play spades. Y'all can bring the kids. The kids will be upstairs or whatever the case may be. But you have to learn how to make things work.
That's right. Y'all got that? And also having meaningful conversation, and not just gossip. I know we gossip. Men gossip too. We already. I have to catch myself sometime, talking with the fellas. We kind of be gossiping. So, but having meaningful conversation, just putting it out there, whatever your thoughts are, feelings, not just holding it in. That's kind of part of growing together. Me being the only child, struggle with that sometimes and still do, So sometimes she's like, what's going on?
And that's that only child you and your daughter got, so and that's tough for me sometimes to deal with because I'm a middle child. So I'm married to an only child, and we have an only child.
Yeah.
So sometimes the things that they do, I don't comprehend being a middle child. So I have to just really say to myself, that must be an only child thing, and let it go. Fix it, move over, build a bridge, as Valencia I say often, build a bridge and get over it.
We are content being solo. Okay, me and my daughter can be in the house just relaxing.
She in the background talking about solo dolo.
At space, having your personal space, personal growth, hobbies, whatever your hobbies were before. I love to fish. My wife knew that before. She grew up doing it a little bit.
I was born in Galveston, okay?
So she grew up around that stuff. But again, those are my hobbies, my hobby. So I continue to do that. She knows that, hey, you're going to get up. She'll even, if I hadn't been in a while, hey, you going to go fishing tomorrow? You off tomorrow? You going to go fishing? She, knowing I have a day off and I need to be hanging out with her, hey, you want to go fishing in the morning? So that, I think you should continue to do that, whatever your hobbies are within your relationship. You should still let that other person know, hey, this is what I like to do. You can join in, but I still like to do that, whether it be with you or by myself.
But you communicate that too.
Right.
And again, like Vincent said, I knew when we went into this marriage, that's all he talked about was fishing with his uncles, fishing with his uncles, fishing with his uncles. And when we would go back to Cleveland and visit, that's like the first thing he would do, even before he hooked up with Amir and all the rest of them, he would go fishing with his uncles. And so I know that him being an only child, and that's his way of decomposing and being one with self and nature. You go fishing with yourself, with me, myself, and I used to call him in the gentleman he goes fishing with, two men.
Mr. Latif.
Yeah, Mr. Latif. Two men in a boat. Because I'm like, if y'all don't bring no fish, y'all not bringing fish home. What y'all out there doing? But I know and trust that that's where he's at. I know he's out fishing when he say he's fishing. I don't have a problem with it. I do remember that challenge you tried to give me about cleaning the fish because you didn't think I knew how to clean fish.
Oh yeah, she can clean little fish.
Gotcha.
She can clean little fish. I don't like to clean. I like to catch them.
Yeah.
I don't like to clean no fish. Okay?
You can drop us in the wilderness. We gonna survive.
Yeah. But again, just that personal space, giving that person that space, and that goes back to another episode we had. Your spouse, your significant other, you give them that time. Everybody needs a little break, a little space. So when I come in, she'll tell me, hey, you need to go take a nap. Sometime I do, sometime I don't. And then we get to conversating. But she can tell, look on my face, the vibe I give off, what I require at that moment. Hey, you want to relax, go take a nap, some bath water, whatever that might be. Yeah.
It goes both ways, My daughter and my husband are two of the non-discreet, sneakiest people I know.
Strong words.
I would look up and I would just have either a plane ticket or an itinerary printed out for me saying, oh yeah, by the way, we sending you away this weekend. It's time for you to be with your friends, because apparently I guess I was getting on their nerves. So they know when it was time for me to have a break and a getaway to either go to California, go to Virginia, or somewhere like that and hang out with one of the girls. Because
Delaware. That's the party place.
Yeah, okay.
Felicia, Delaware. Okay, never mind.
That's a whole separate turn up. But yeah, all right, Fab Felicia.
And connection. Close your ears, Lindsay. She's a little older now. Sexually, what we want, I think men are more, we always say that, we're more visual. So I have to look at my daughter when I'm talking, y'all. Okay.
I'm 30.
She said, I'm 30. You're not 30 yet. Like I said, we're more visual. I think we start off with quantity, and I think as time goes back, then that turns into quality. I want to get one more raunchy than that.
Well, I mean, yeah, we're all adults here. They understand that men are a visual being. Men love touch, feel. You know, sex is a way that men show love, and I'll talk about that a little bit in mine. So that's just something, again, with a man telling women what he feels and what he has communicated from received in communication from his other male friends of what men need. So don't be offended by it. This is just coming from the King's reality check. Use it or don't. Love you.
Now she's going to go over some of her wants. See if I agree.
Yeah, Valencia, do we have any comments or questions in that part? Because again, if you have questions, log your questions down there. If you have statements, let us know. Again, Vincent just went over the 5 things that he feels and have been informed of what men feel like they need. And those 5 things, again, he'll number them are...
They are respect, confidence, trustworthiness, space, and connection.
So those are the 5 things that we have listed as far as what men need. And now we'll go to what women want. This is going to be the other side.
Well, we'll do a quick intermission.
Okay, intermission time.
Yeah, just Derek Green, I think you guys can touch on this. He said, how can I live like the Cosbys? But I know that's something you guys get a lot, like the Cosbys or the Obamas. Just kind of talk about how, you know, whatever it may look like on the outside, it's an individual relationship, and you don't have to aspire to be like somebody else. You make it your own.
That's right.
Definitely.
Oh man. Yeah, I mean it's it's how how do you say I got a tongue twister right there.
I think for us, and I don't know if this is where you're going, but for us, we've always had that people putting our relationship on a pedestal.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
There you go.
People have always, for some reason, wanted to put the Kings on a pedestal, like we have a perfect relationship.
Yeah, we got issues just like everybody else. We
Baby.
bicker. She say I'm stubborn. So we bicker just like the next person.
Just
but
like everybody else.
It's about working it out, talking it out. So just not talking for a month or 2 months. That ain't how is that gonna solve anything? So, we do everything just like anybody else.
Yeah.
We get into it. We don't cuss each other out. That's one thing we don't do. We don't do too much yelling. We kind of raise our voice a little bit, but we have issues just like any other couple.
But I think it's a mutual respect thing. Like Vincent and I both communicated this coming into the relationship. I have a 0 tolerance for disrespect. And I know for me, growing up, I have a kind of sassy mouth, just a little bit. I've gone to anger management once or twice. So I know I have an attitude, and I know that I know how to use words. Like I can shoot the dozen like no other.
Mr. Green, are you listening?
Are you listening? But I knew that coming into the relationship, that wasn't going to work if I wanted this relationship to last. So Vincent has learned to be patient with me. But I think answering Green's question directly is one of the things we don't do is we don't talk about our business with everybody else.
That's it.
If we have a problem going on in our household, it's going to stay in our household, and we're going to figure it out in our household or with a counselor or a therapist. And we have gone to counseling. several times. We've been married 28 years, so we've gone to counseling several times.
Yeah.
We've gone to therapy several times. We've gone to the Lord, honey. We've gone to the angels. We've gone to the skies, to the clouds. We've gone to each other, and we have said we're going to figure this out because that is our ultimate goal, is to keep this marriage working.
That's right.
But we both know what our tolerance level is, and we both know that we did want other people in our business. So I don't care what the outside is saying. They can say what they want. They can say whether we feel like we're trying to be the Obamas or we feel like we're trying to be the Dirty Dozens. It don't matter to me.
Yeah, and that's fine. You can aspire to be, if you want to say, okay, the Cosby, the Kings. You know, we have couples that we aspire to live up to their reputation as well, being married 50 and 60 years.
Yeah, the Miles,
So, you know,
Nikita,
yeah,
both Miles
yeah.
sets. Nikita's parents, Miles,
Yeah.
and also Pastor Miles and Jackie Miles.
Yeah.
Like that couple, they both have been married for 50 years if my
Yeah,
memory serves
yeah.
me correct. 50 years because Bobby old, so yeah.
Yeah, and they really just good people. They just crack us up, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's like we just look at them like some people look at us, you know what I mean? So,
Yeah.
you know, it goes around. So.
Yeah, but basically, we keep people out of our business.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter what outside people say. Sticks and stones may hurt my bones, but your words may get you slapped. I'm sorry, but your words won't hurt me. So we really do keep people out of our business, and it has been a struggle, especially being a military couple for the first, 16 years of our marriage. It was definitely a struggle because that's all the military is to me, is gossip, and we worked really hard at cutting it off. Like, he knew if somebody came to him about some bull craps that happened while he was overseas and out of seas, he knew in his heart of hearts whether something was true or not. And when we communicated, we would make sure that it was understood. And he also knew that he could trust me with his household, his income, his family, and his daughter while he was gone, because I had what was best for our interests in heart. So yeah, Green, keep people out your business. Aspire to be the relationship that you want to be. Communicate that with your spouse. And I go back to keep people out your business.
Communicate. Green. Communicate. Communicate.
He said he's listening.
Okay. Listen, got it. Thank you. Okay, so we'll go to what women want. When I did do the survey with women, back in the day, and then of course updating it recently, asking a couple of questions of, what are the top 3 things that you feel like women want in a relationship? And I don't even say marriage. I say in a relationship because, I don't want people to feel like, oh, well, those are only things that happen in a marriage. No, those are things that happen in a relationship because, again, you date in a relationship in order to be married. So that's, where we're at with that. So the first thing I would say is open and honest communication. Open and honest communication would be at the top of the list for most women and what they want out of a man in a relationship. And that's going to be open communication on a regular basis. Talking to her about what's going on in your life outside of your household. Letting her know what's going on at work. You don't have to get into detail, but sometimes when you don't talk about how your day is going and you don't talk about what's going on, they may have those insecurities like, okay, something's going on and I'm not included. So again, it's not that you got to go through a whole agenda, but let them know what's going on outside of your love.
Yeah.
What's going on with him? What's going on with some of the things that he wants to do? So, that. Be truthful so she can trust you. And this still goes with open and honest communication. Be truthful about whatever's going on in your life. Good, bad, or ugly. And I'm going to say those 3 words a couple of times. Good, the bad, and the ugly. Just be truthful about it. Because when you're truthful about things, it gives the other person the right to make the best decision.
Right.
Number 2, I would say they want a man to be faithful. Okay, and I'm back. They want a man to be faithful. And that in today's time is a long stretch because of social media. It has put a strain on many relationships that I know of. I know back in the day when we first got on Facebook, I was like, okay, are you sure we want to do this? Because I know that this is going to be a situation that's going to be tempting with all of these heifer-hoes out there who are trying to, who are out there trying to get what I already got. And I'm not about that, but I am about my life. So
you know what? Yeah, and you know what? And like I don't have Snapchat and all that other stuff. I do have Facebook. I like to communicate, and we had a tight knit class high school, and even when we went to our, what was
You're 15 or 20?
20-year class reunion. And I had to tell her, like, all right, like a lot of these folks I hadn't seen in all that time. And I was like, we had a really tight-knit class, so, like, don't go in here tripping, all right? Because the ladies want to hug me.
Don't go to
hey,
you tripping. Yeah, okay.
You still look the same, you know, after 20 years. So, anyway, my point was, like, on Facebook, you know, you have people reaching out to you. So those are the things you have to watch out for, you know, like some old girlfriends and, you know, might see you on there. So do you want to open yourself up to that? So, you know, those are things you have to think about the other person.
Yeah, because the faithfulness is not just, you know, physical, it's emotional too. And that's actually what was coming up next with emotional maturity, and this is all on number 2. So being men to be faithful and mature about the things that they do. And so that's why I brought up the social media. Number 3 is to feel loved and appreciated. A woman wants to feel loved and appreciated by the person who is sharing her bed with her and sharing her heart. I think that's one of the biggest things that gets overlooked, is how do you appreciate a person. You have to learn that from that person. You actually have to communicate to them how you like to be appreciated. And that kind of goes with the love languages, but not, you know, not all together. But I will say say it in this fashion, that appreciate the person how they want to be appreciated. At one point in time, I was a gifts person. My love language was gifts. So those were things that, you know, you could show me that you appreciated me, and you showed me that you heard me, and you showed me that you understood me. But that changes over stages. So again, if it changes for you, you have to tell him how to appreciate you. Look, when I'm feeling down, I want you to come and give me a hug and tell me everything's going to be okay. When I'm having a bad day, or when I'm not having a bad day, I want you to come in and give me a hug, acknowledge me, let me know that we're still in this together. Nothing could be going wrong. Yeah. But just let them know that you appreciate them by whatever their communication language is, whether it's gifts, whether it's time together, you know, whether it's words of affirmation, whatever it is, just let them know that you appreciate them. The 4th thing is adventure and excitement in the relationship. I think for women, we just automatically feel like men should know how to be romantic, and that's not always the case. So you have to communicate that to them. What I want you to do is be adventurous and have excitement in our relationship, and tell them what that looks like for you. You know, if that means adventure in the bedroom where you like to bring the handcuffs and the feathers, the hot chocolate, and the whipped cream, then do you. But you have to express that to him or her, whoever it is, so that they know what your expectations are, and how that adventure and excitement looks for you. Tell them that you love them. Don't just assume that, oh, she know I love her, he know I love him. Say it.
Right.
Because that's just words of affirmation, just confirming that, okay, I'm still here, this still works, this is still existing, and it's going to make it. Because you told them I love you. Sometimes just saying those 3 little words can just knock down walls.
Yeah.
And that's when you say it meaningfully. And then I think, were you about to say something?
Yeah, I was going to say, just saying that, you know, because, you know, you might walk out the door, that might be your last day. So you always want to communicate that to your wife, your kids. You know, the next day isn't promised. We all know that. You know, you find out something the next day. Hey, guess what? Such and such. This happened to this person. You're like, man, I just talked to him yesterday. You know what I mean? So you want to talk, tell people you love them, call people you haven't talked to. You know, if your parents are still alive, your grandmothers, whoever. You know, just give them a call. And, you know, check on them, tell them you love them. We have a friend of ours, we call our goddaughter, Glory. I think I just out of the blue text her, and just text her out of the blue, asked her how she was doing, say everything gonna be all right. And she was like, man, I needed to hear that. You know what I mean? Just out of the blue. So I think, you know, that's good that we do that. Just check on people that we care for, love.
Yep. So still under number 4 for me, it goes under adventure and excitement. Women also want their significant other, their man, to remember the little things. Take out the damn trash.
I think I do that with sometime. You know,
Yeah,
I think
no,
we
no,
slip.
you're-
We
you're-
all
you're-
slip.
You're good
you know
at
what I
that.
mean?
It's just those little things sometimes that people overlook. Little things like, you know, picking up her laundry. If you see her heels are messed up and she walking on concrete and it's just scraping, take her damn shoes to the shoe shop and get that tap put on there because she may not know where to take them to. I'm sorry. Again, but it's those little things that count. You know, make sure her car is washed. Why would you want your spouse riding around in a dirty car?
That's right. Oil change, all
Oil
those things.
change,
You shouldn't want your wife or a girlfriend taking their car to the shop anyway. You already know they're gonna try to get over. So,
And
you know,
that's not a male female thing.
Yeah.
That's just a common courtesy, gentleman, scholar thing. If you ask me, just it's little things like that. The little things that count. But again, you can also ask her, what are the little things that matter to you? Do you want me to fill up your car on occasions? Do you want me to wash your car when I go wash my truck? You know, do you want me to
don't give me the cash, I'll fill it up. You want me to pay? Or I mean, how we doing this? No, the communication.
again,
right?
communication.
Right.
That's between you and your
Just saying.
significant other, but you guys need to communicate that.
Right.
Okay, and number 5 for what women want is safety and security. I can't say that enough. We all have insecurities. That is a human nature, that is a human thing. But the way society and social media plays women against women now, plays women against everything, age, sex, sexiness, hips, hair, eyes, the falsification of it all is ridiculous. So I think when you can reassure her that she is beautiful, that she is the most beautiful person in your eyes, that will make a huge difference in your relationship and help her with any insecurities that she may be having. She also needs to feel that she is being heard and understood. And that, again, little things like, you know, if she may be saying something like, you know, this is the second year, what are we doing for Valentine's Day? And you still come up with, I don't know. Those are little things that she wants to make sure she's telling you, what are we doing with it? When she asks you that, she's actually letting you know she's expecting something. So be creative, come up with something.
Go ahead.
She needs to know that she can count on you through the good, the bad, and the ugly, regardless. She needs to know that she can count on you. That is if you want to take it back to the caveman days, do what you will, say what you will. But a woman wants to know that a man got her back and ain't shit gonna happen on his watch. Bottom line. Now, I'm not saying you can't help him because I'm that chick. You come for us, we coming back at you. I'm just saying a woman wants to feel like she knows no matter what goes down, y'all got this, y'all in this together, and he gonna help y'all figure out how to get out of this mess.
Communication, baby. Communication. Yeah, talk it out. I don't know what all this is.
About that life.
Fight.
So yeah, again, those are my 5 things for what women want. I think so. My 5 things for what women want was 1, open and honest communication. 2, men to be faithful or faithfulness, because again, we don't know who's all listening. I respect everybody. 3, to feel loved and appreciated. 4, adventure and excitement in the relationship. 5 is safety and security. And I think some of those you saw had 2 because I think they work hand in hand. So again, those are 5 things that, you know, when we survey people and we know that when we, you know, people approach us about, you know, what we want out of a relationship, these are the things that come up the most.
And again, even on the first episode we did, some folks, they were laughing and saying it was corny, but it was corny. But hey, those are things we did just to kind of keep the laughter going with the thumb wars, all those little silly things. Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong place. Just all those little silly things that we do, but we just letting you guys know that works for us. You know, so whatever you guys we might think it's something you do is real silly and corny, but you guys, you know, connect on that level. You know what I mean?
That goes back to
you.
what Green was saying. If it works for you, it works for you. Who gives a damn what everybody else is saying outside because they ain't in your bed.
That's right. That's right.
Or if they are, that's between y'all.
We get into all of that. But go ahead.
No, I was going to say, so you can go over your 5 or what are my 5, just to kind of say the 5 again.
Mine was respect, confidence, trustworthiness, space, and connection.
And so, Valencia, if we don't have any questions, we'll kind of go over those.
Just a question about for new relationships, how do you kind of open that conversation about what you expect, and how do you know if it's too soon? Like, obviously, you don't do it on the first date, or do you? I don't know.
Again, it's gonna, for me, I would say it depends on the person, because some people are able to come out and say that on the first date. And I don't think that it's a conversation that should scare anybody off, especially depending on what age category you're in.
Yeah, I think,
you know, now if you're 19 and you're telling him, well, you know what, I'm not even gonna say that, because at 19 I knew what I wanted. But I think it's an individual decision. Do I think it's too soon on the first date? No. Do I think it's too soon on the third date? No. Do I think it's too late 7 years later? Almost, but not quite with therapy and counseling. So my answer to that is no. You can ask the questions about what are your needs in a relationship as soon as you feel like there's a relationship that's going to develop.
Yeah, and that comes through communication. You guys having conversation on whatever you're talking about. You're going to get that vibe from that person if you think this person wants to move forward and be in a relationship. So, then I think those questions will follow.
Yeah, again, not too soon. Ask away.
Yeah.
And I just want to put a disclaimer out there. Green says, just want to say thank you guys. Now he feels like he can seduce any woman. Use these tips at your own risk. The kings are not responsible.
Okay, go out there and play with fire and get burned here, Green.
But yeah, that seems like there's everything on my end. If you guys want to just give your final thoughts and everything of that nature. So.
Yeah, I think you should definitely just, from what we said on both sides, just have a conversation with your spouse or
whoever you're dating. Whoever that's significant
on their
other.
wants. I mean, it's like cut, dry, simple. It's like have a conversation on your needs and your wants within your relationship. And I mean, you can't say it any more plainer than that. Have a conversation on what I want, what I require, what I need, and the same for her. She's going to let me know the same thing. This is what I require. I would like roses once every 2 months. I would like sent to my job once a month. So you want to show that person off. You want to show your significant other. Significant.
You want some of my wine?
Yeah, I think I've been sipping. It's in my veins already. You want to show your spouse off, So you go out. I'm okay with looking. She must be looking good. So you want to take them out. Then once you get them, you want to stay in the house. No, go out. You guys can go to concerts. You don't have to be clubbing, going into clubs. You can go out, take her out to dance. You have jazz concerts. Go out and hang out and socialize. I think that's healthy to socialize.
Agreed. And I think, what Vincent was saying is definitely true. You have to communicate your expectations. And I also say that you also have to communicate your zero tolerance. Like, what are some things that you will not accept? Because if you don't verbalize those, then they don't know. If you don't say, I don't tolerate cheating. If you never said it, you're going to cheat. And then like, well, okay, we good. As long as I didn't bring it to the house.
Right.
Or as long as, whatever the situation may be, if you did not communicate that, then he or she does not know. So, and you can communicate that with social media saying, I believe that emotional cheating is just as well as physical cheating. Again, you have to communicate those things because the other person is not a mind reader and everybody's expectations are different in every relationship and they change depending on the relationships and the level of the relationship as well.
Agreed.
So, this has been the Kings with the King and we doing well. With the King and I. This episode was Men Need, Women Want. So if you're watching this on a replay, we thank you for tuning in. Again, this has been the King and I. I am Shirley Walker King, and this is my husband,
Vincent King, DeLeon King.
There we go.
Yes.
And we are my producer's giving me this.
Yeah.
And we are authors. We actually co-wrote a book
yeah.
called Soul to Soul. This is a couples relationship book. We have a chapter in there called Rules of Marital. No, I'm sorry. The chapter is called United We Stand.
Marital rules of engagement.
Yeah, and we go over the marital rules of engagement, which we are actually going to be breaking that down and doing our own book for that as well. Because, baby, when I say we got some rules of engagement for you, we got you. And then I recently wrote this book here. It's called 30 Days to a Better You. You can pre-order this one right now on my website at ShirleyWalkerKing.com. 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 Thank you, Valencia. And no, the wine is not that strong. But in this book, I go over things that I did to help me get out of a sunken space as I was going through a little bit of depression and anxiety after having a car accident and tearing my Achilles and all hell breaking loose. Actually, some things in our marriage too. So yeah, these things that I did here helped me get back and refocus on who Shirley Walker King was. So 30 Days to a Better You. You can get it on my website, ShirleyWalkerKing.com.
Thank you guys for tuning in. Everyone stay safe. Till we see you next week. Give us some comments, some feedback on what you would like us to talk about next week. We shall see you all next week.